Hi, I'm Okeska. In my last Pseudoregalia video, I showed the out-of-bounds area for empty Bailey and the tricks needed to reach them. I put the link in the description. Yesterday, while looking for secrets in Twilight Theater, I found another out-of-bounds access point. This really fascinated me because there's only one tile in the level with exposure to the outside area. I spent a lot of time trying to find a way out. Here's what's out there right behind the curtains and how to get there. Almost all of this can be done with a controller, but keyboard and mouse make certain parts much easier. The follow camera setting should also be off. And I also have a new input overlay for the video too. I hope you enjoy. This section of the Twilight Theater has a bunch of platforms hanging over the void. You get here while unlocking the cages with the golden key inside the center of the theater. This iron fence next to us will be our way out. With a high jump, grab the edge and move just a little bit forward to stand on top of the wall. As you may know, kicking at shallow angles off walls pushes you less far away from it. A kick parallel to the wall will let you keep kicking off the same wall. This is even easier in first-person mode. We'll use this technique a lot. By long jumping to the wall and kicking with the direction of the wall, we can stay close to it and ride it around the corner, accessing the lower section of the out-of-bounds area. More kicks can get you to the upper section. Here's how to get to the higher section. In first person, you can easily kick walls without pushing off at all. You can also turn sharp corners with the cling gem. Back at the low road, there's a path that takes you far away from the intended area. It's really cool and there's a lot of neat stuff involved with getting there. At this sloped ramp, there's a building with windows that jut out from the structure. We'll use those to get up higher. When long jumping to the windows, you can kick towards the wall to make it easier. You won't kick off the wall because some out-of-bounds objects don't allow kicking or wall riding. A backflip high jump isn't high enough, but a long jump into high backflip gets you enough height. This path takes you a long way out. It's very cool and one of my favorites. The Pseudoregalia soundtrack is very good, but this is a pretty long video, so I've included some other music that I think is fitting. With that, off we go. A lot of these structures are rectangular prism buildings with triangular prism roofs, very similar to the ones in Empty Bailey. One major detail, many have slightly exposed ledges. If you jump towards them and stop giving movement input before landing, you'll land on them and can walk around the edges. If you move when you land on the slope side, your motion will be preserved and Sybil will bounce off. Neutral movement effectively freezes Sybil when she lands. Very useful for precarious ledges. After following a lot of these buildings, there's a set of towers with a bridge. This is where I spent a lot of time, maybe hours, trying to reach a distant set of buildings. A lot of tech is shown and explained here. A first-person high jump wall kick will get you up this wall. The reason this works is because Sybil's kick hitbox in first person connects with the wall even if she's facing away, which pushes her up the wall. There's still so much out there and we're only just starting. By wall kicking up the opposite tower and riding around the corner, you can just barely get to those curved buttress things. I love curvy buttresses. These gave me a lot of trouble because I wanted to high jump to the sloped roof above, or maybe around to the other ones, but they just don't seem to allow it. I did manage a high jump from them, but the roof is just too high up. Maybe if I had done a yellow high jump instead of a blue and also done a backflip? And trying it from the tower is also just barely out of reach. I decided to see if I was losing height on the corner and went to a safe spot to practice. It was there I remembered the backflip can be done to turn corners and gain height. Sybil's backflip is a unique air control ability that can be used to change direction in midair and gain some height. A lot of places are very hard to reach without it, some impossible. You can turn it to flip in the direction you're already going, kinda like Sniper from Risk of Rain. We'll see a similar technique later. Even with the inclusion of a backflip, I was still just barely missing the ledge. I thought that losing speed from turning around to flip was causing it. I had found that the mouse in first person can be used to quickly turn around and flip without losing speed, because entering first person makes you instantly face that direction. I also noticed that with a keyboard I could consistently backflip towards a wall around a corner as well. With the keyboard, I was able to do sidekicks parallel to the wall, and get very high on the tower, but I messed up the backflip input and ultimately failed. This tower is exceptionally rough because getting back to it takes several minutes, so practicing it is hard. Another cool thing I learned while recording, you can actually make high backflips from long jumps go forwards. Depending on your timing, you either get a blue jump or a yellow jump, yellow being the highest. This opens a lot of doors for us. It's very fun, too. After at least an hour or so of trying to get somewhere with this tower, I came to the conclusion that some things just need a different approach. So we're taking the high road this time. I took this long path, very nice for practicing forward high backflips. One of the coolest jumps in this whole level is right here. You'll need a yellow jump. Blue isn't gonna make it. Once you're up, a kick will get you all the way to the next roof. It's awesome. And more buttresses. A long jump and kick from this buttress are just barely enough to get you to this building, which is accompanied by some similar buildings next to it and some sloped ramps in the distance. Sybil has this funny particle and sound effect when she's on these slopes. The game doesn't really know where to put her. One of the tightest jumps is right here, too. A long jump right at this spot, followed by a forward high backflip and a kick, and you soar all the way to that sloped building. Sybil's movement is so much more powerful and involved than is required in the game's intended areas. By making your own challenges, you become so much more intimately familiar with how the game works. A wall ride and ledge grab works here too. You have to time your flips depending on the slope you're jumping on. It's tricky, but doable. To my great dismay, you can't wall ride up these cylindrical towers like you can with the ones in the Empty Bailey. There's a dome at the top of this one, so I'm not sure I'd even be able to stand up there. We can only imagine. These sloped buildings are arranged so interestingly, meant to be background pieces in the set, now part of the playground. They're such perfect long jump distance from each other that it almost feels intended. These slightly exposed ledges and kickable, wall-rideable surfaces make me wonder if these out-of-bounds areas weren't exactly meant to be inaccessible. Maybe just accessible to a certain kind of person. The High Road Showcase starts here. One thing about the Twilight Theater is because the Out of Bounds trick takes so much practice, you'll be doing it very consistently by the time you're exploring most of these areas. You can see the stained glass ceiling of the main theater right in front of you. A lot of walls in Pseudoregalia are just one-way view surfaces, but can still be walked on. Going out of bounds is one of my favorite ways to recontextualize the details of an environment. It's rare for a game to show you this much, let alone let you run around in it. At least you can spin on these ones. If only they were taller. We'll be checking out that building over there soon. Perfect place for a secret boss, in my opinion. These towers sadly aren't kickable or rideable. There's our starting place, all the way down there. I wasn't sure it would work, but I had to go for the long jump to this tower. For that building with all the little butlers, we'll take this path using the theater's wall pillars. Make a wall kick here. It's very easy to overshoot this little spot, so I approach at an angle. Another wall that you can walk on here. You can't really go up the side, so you just sink into the room. You can reach this pole here, though, with some effort. It's mainly just for the view. This here is how to get on top of the walls of the outside area of the theater, where we start from. That wall over there can be kicked in first person, just like the one in the empty Bailey. It's very satisfying to stand here. So much time spent just throwing myself at these and not knowing how to get up. Twilight Theater's Speed Challenge room has a wall you can walk on too. Just jump to the... Actually, we need to not be here, so let me just... In my desperation, I may have gay baby jailed myself. Take two? There we go. A keyboard makes these long, straight walks much easier. Just keep a little bit of wall visible on your right so you can gauge how close to the center you are. I haven't seen this doorway before. I don't remember it in the game. I wonder what it's for. I actually realized there's still more underneath the level, so I went to check that out too. Did you see that? What was that? It's like a small black square that I can only see from below. It's so strange. What is it? It has some kill plane around it, so even getting close to it is difficult. I barely have a visual cue to go off either. It's so odd. I managed to get closer and closer, but I don't think I ever made contact with it. God, God, I'm almost certain I touched it that time. I eventually gave up on the square to check out more stuff beneath the level. If anyone ever manages to get to it, let me know. I'd love to see and know what it is. With all that said and done, I think that's everything I'm able to show you. I'm sure there's more out there in the theater, just waiting to be found. I grew up with platformers and they're a big comfort genre to me. I've been waiting for a game like this to come around for a long time. Games like Pseudoregalia have entire worlds of bizarre beauty hidden behind their curtains. A little curiosity can reveal something huge. The unintended paths can teach you just as much as the intended ones. Even within bounds, Pseudoregalia is beautiful and surreal. But this is an entirely new Twilight theater to me. This is Twilight theater as I now understand it. It's inside and out. I have one last trick for you tonight. Enjoy, and thank you for watching. Oops.